Hello and welcome back, Algebra 2 class. Sorry there's not going to be any music in this video set, but I could just not get the sound quality to be good enough, so it's not going to be there. Our lesson today is lesson 4.4, which is properties of logarithms. Our objectives for this lesson are going to be to use properties of logs to simplify logarithmic expressions, and then also to use the change of base formula to evaluate logs. Now, we already did this in class, so we're good to go there. We do have one side objective that we'll be getting to later on in the videos, and that's going to be to use logs to solve exponential growth and decay problems. Now we looked at that a little bit in class, but we're just going to do one more. So the first property of logarithms that I want to look at is the product property of logarithms. So product should give you a hint about what this is going to be. It's going to be when we have two things that are multiplied together inside of a log. For example, here we have log base b of m times n. And what this property says is that when you have two things multiplied together inside of a log, that's the same as adding the two logs like this. So log base b of m times n is the same as log base b of m plus log base b of n. I'll do a full proof on this in a later video that you don't have to watch, but you can if you want to. But for now, one way to think about why this works is remember that logs are really similar to exponents. You could actually argue that logs are exponents. So b, when we have exponents, we have b to the m times b to the n. Well, that's the same as b to the m plus n. So when you multiply things with the same base raised to exponents, it's the same as adding the exponents. Well, here, when you multiply inside of a log, it's the same as adding the logs of the separate pieces. So what exactly does that look like? Well, there are a couple ways we might go with this. We might go from a condensed log and expand it, or we could go the other direction. So first we'll go from a condensed log and we will expand it and write it as two separate logs. So here we have log base 5 of 3k. Now we can use our product property to break this up, right? Because I have 3 times k inside of my log. So I can break this down into log base 5 of 3 plus log base 5 of k. So those are both the same thing. Now, the direction that we're more likely to go, usually, is to take things that are written as multiple logs and condense them into a single logarithm, because this usually lets us get in more simplifying than if we have them expanded. So here I have log base 6 of 12 plus log base 6 of 3. I have to check first that my bases match. They do, and I'm adding two logs together, which tells me that this is the setup I need for my product property. So I can turn this into log base 6 of 12 times 3. Now, of course, 12 times 3 is 36, so this is log base 6 of 36, and log base 6 of 36 is just 2. Because remember, this asks the question, 6 raised to what power gives you 36? The other property of logs I want to look at today is the quotient property of logarithms. So this says pretty much the exact, or like the opposite part of the product property. This says when you divide something inside of a log, instead of adding outside, you subtract. Right? And this works really similarly to what we have with exponents as well. When you have something like b to the m over b to the n, right? When you're dividing things with exponents, it's the same as subtracting the exponents. So just to read what the property says, it says that if you have log base b of m divided by n, that's the same as log base b of m minus log base b of n. And we'll just look at two more examples here. Our first one, again, is going to be express the logarithm below as two separate logs, so we're going to be expanding this. So here we have x divided by 4 inside of our log base 9. So when we break this up, it's going to be log base 9 of x minus log base 9 of 4. Right? Dividing inside of the log is the same as subtracting the two separate logs. And on this bottom one, we're going to condense our logs into one logarithm and see if it simplifies. So here we have log base 4 of 8 minus log base 4 of 2. Well, I have the same base, that's an important piece, the bases match. And I have subtraction in the middle, so that tells me that I can use the quotient property. So this happens to end up being the same as log base 4 of 8 divided by 2. Now 8 divided by 2 simplifies, that simplifies to 4, so this is log base 4 of just 4. And remember, this is asking 4 raised to what power gives us 4? Well, that's just 1.